Hi friends, and welcome to our real estate show that is kind of like Planet Money meets Anthony Bourdain meets This Old House. At least that's what I'm envisioning. Today I want to talk about the rate cut that the Fed announced last week, and then I'm going to take you out to breakfast at one of my favorite spots in town, and then I'm continuing to work on my basement, which if you've been paying attention, you'll know that this has taken years to complete and is definitely a work in progress that probably won't ever be done.
We are here today at our office.
Yes, our office in Fremont.
This is the Compass office in Fremont. It's a great location.
Like the space. The location's really nice. We're underneath the Aurora Bridge, which is kind of fun to look up at. We're close to the water.
Not technically see water, but I see like the sails of sailboats from where I'm sitting. It's kind of a cool view. Yeah. If I walk outside just a few feet, we'll see water.
We don't come here very often, mostly just to like use the printer, and I do a lot of new client meetings here.
And they have gummy snacks.
Mm-hmm. Although, I'm feeling a little off right now because we're like doing this 75-day fitness challenge. We're fasting. I'm not eating any candy. I'm kind of hungry.
We're just not eating. That's how we're going to lose weight.
Also, to fight the inflation, just eat less.
It does save money. Man, those gummy snacks add up. I can't decide today if we should open with the news of the rate cuts or people not being allowed to walk on the streets in Seattle.
I think that's a good place to start.
So this isn't real estate specific news, but the Seattle City Council this week just passed what they're calling stay out zones.
Stay out zone. Basically, people are banned from walking on the street if they have a history of drug use.
So if you've been arrested for drug use in certain physical areas, as well as different prostitution crimes, there are now different business districts. The prostitution one is along Aurora Avenue, where there's major issues there. And then the drug ban is in different areas of Seattle, downtown, Denny Triangle, Chinatown. Pioneer Square, where so if you have this on your record, you are no longer allowed to be on these streets. And you think there's more to the story? There's not.
That's it.
I was shocked when I saw this. And this past city council, I think it said 8-1. The council was in favor of this. There are so many things wrong with this.
First of all, I'm just surprised that Seattle has a history of trying to be equitable and be understanding of people's situations, and this is so far in the other direction.
It is, and I do feel it. Like, on the one hand, I am relieved that it's our government is finally doing something. Yeah, our leaders are finally doing something about the major drug and prostitution problems we have. But on the other, my bigger issue is your point. I'm I guess it's kind of the same thing as people who are on the sex offender registry list can't go near schools. It's sort of like that, I guess. But how can we tell people that they can't walk on a certain street? This sounds familiar to me. This sounds like something that's happened in our past before here in America.
Okay, so drug use is not allowed right here, but you can go one street over and you're fair game.
You can break the law over there.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. All of this discussion is aside from the fact that this is not going to work. This is just for optics, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning up certain touristy areas or high traffic thoroughfares. And just the statement it makes, you can't do your illegal activity here, but just move over a couple blocks. And I also heard someone point out the fact that there's certain social service organizations that have planted themselves in these areas to reach and help these people. Well, now these people are not allowed there. What, are we uprooting nonprofits to move a few blocks over to be where the people are? This makes no sense to me.
I think you're right. It's a complete optics move. It's to show that they're trying to do something.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, I'm glad.
Something needs to be done.
Something needs to be done, but
this is not the way.
I was really kind of worked up in a tizzy about this week. I just kept thinking I was missing something. I was reading the articles, Anyways, just wanted to bring this up because it's pretty big Seattle news, and here we are.
Yeah.
But the other big news is
rates were cut.
Rate cuts.
Very exciting.
Real
Last
estate
week,
news.
The Fed announced that rates are coming down by 0.5 percentage point.
So why were they so high? They reached their like 20-some year high at
7.79%. That was last fall.
Why were they so high?
Basically, the real estate market, inflation, everything was just out of control.
Post-COVID,
because rates were low and money was cheap and people could just spend it willy-nilly.
But rates were low to incentivize spending coming out of COVID when we were worried about our economy and people spending. We needed people to get out there and keep spending.
Yeah. So in 22, the Fed came in. They said they're going to raise rates in order to try and curb and slow down inflation and get a handle on the economy. It didn't really work because things are still absurdly expensive.
Butter.
But
eggs.
Yeah, so now they're slowly pulling that back and they're bringing rates back down.
So we should say that the Federal Reserve rate is not the same as mortgage rates, like when you're buying a house, but it does influence them.
So what do they? They directly influence credit cards, HELOCs. Mortgage rates are more reactionary. They're influenced by the bond market, which is influenced by the federal rates, and it's very complex. But basically, like consumer opinion and the Fed cutting rates and all of these things influence the mortgage market.
And it has influenced it. The mortgage rates have come down. We were at like 6.09 for the end of last week,
which is a huge decrease in a year. It's like a 0.75 almost.
And that's a big difference in your monthly payment if you're looking to buy a house.
Home prices have come up 50% since 2019.
That's why everyone says that stupid phrase, date the rate, and what is it? Marry the house and date the rate or something. Yeah. Because house prices just still keep going up.
Yeah. Prices aren't really what affect affordability for the everyday person. Most people are getting a mortgage, so they're concerned more about their monthly rate, or at least you should be. You should be concerned about your monthly payment. And how that fits into your finances.
I think it's really a lack of understanding of how mortgage rates work that keep most people out of the market because they see house prices and they're like waiting for house prices to come down or soften, but they don't. They just keep going up in a cyclical way year after year. But if you really understand that it's really about your rate and your monthly payment, that's when you can kind of make the informed decision about whether or not to jump in the market. And also coupled with, your personal financial situation, your savings, how much do you have for a down payment? Those are the things that should really be influencing your decision more than like, oh, house prices have gone up X percent. I think we are starting to see buyers jump back in. Just this week, you've met with 2 or 3 first-time buyers, I think, who are just kind of ready to. They've been hovering and they're kind of ready to get going because the rates have dropped. So that's great.
So I think with rates being cut, it brings up this interesting question that a lot of people are speculating on if this is going to cause prices to increase or not. I think so, but I was listening to an economist, a housing expert, talk about how it's also, with rates coming down, it's going to bring more inventory out of the woodwork. Sellers are going to realize that, there's more demand. They're going to put their house on the market, and that increase in inventory is going to offset the increase in demand.
Do you think he was referring to this particular moment in history? Because we probably do have this pent-up inventory that has not come on the market because of COVID, because of people refinancing into those low rates, and now we're like far enough past COVID. We went through the rates going up, they're coming back down, but we're far enough past COVID that people might need to sell or just be ready to sell for whatever reason. So you're right, it could be interesting to see if a bunch of inventory comes on the market just because of that COVID situation, where in another scenario, years down the road, that might not be the case.
Yeah, but I think we're in a very unique time right now with a lot of economic factors affecting the housing market I think the Fed and the government, they've just been meddling with the housing market a lot over the last couple of years. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen. And I think it's just worth paying attention as we move through the end of this year.
I hope more inventory comes on the market because we're trying to buy right now.
Yeah.
Slim pickings.
Yeah, it is slim pickings.
I mean, we're on a not an ideal Seattle budget.
Yeah, we're trying to buy something for under $650, ideally closer to $600.
Ideally
Kendall's
closer
like
to $500. Risk tolerance low, lower than this guy.
There are not very many options. The ones that are out there are major projects, and it's mostly investors and not a whole lot of like end users, people that are going to be living there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love the prospect of taking on a project and fixing a house up and making it livable again. But we've submitted a couple offers, and
it's been close.
Yeah, we've gotten outbid a couple times.
Too slow a couple times.
Too slow. We've been too cautious. Yeah.
It's a process, just like it is for some of our clients. Like, some people go in there guns blazing and get what they want, but some people kind of have to feel what it's going to feel like. And I think that's where we are with our investment property.
Yeah.
And we just have to feel the pain a little bit.
I had a client ask the other day, like, how many times do people typically put offers in before they get a house? And I told them my clients, usually about 2. That's kind of the average over the last couple of years, that people that I've helped, mostly because I work really hard to try and get them ready to fight, basically, because you kind of have to in the Seattle market. And we've just been a little nervous to really put the boxing gloves on. We
find that clients are we think it's a better experience when you've kind of this sounds obvious, when you wait till you're ready. I mean, I think a lot of realtors would probably say they make a lot more offers than 2 with their clients. I think we generally have a quicker timeline. We want you to get pre-approved and kind of watch the market, figure out we help you figure out what you want, but it's demoralizing. I mean, we're learning right now to just make offer after offer and not get anything locked down. So we try to avoid that.
I saw a quote that about this. This was in the Wall
Journal Times.
Okay, so this is somebody who's demoralized by putting in a bunch of offers on a house. I got a good paying job. I got a good credit score. I got money put off to the side. I feel like I did everything right. Why isn't this working?
This is super interesting to me.
I keep seeing stories about this and people not being able to secure a house.
Yeah, and we do a lot on social media too, like showing different homes in Seattle, and the comments we get are like, you guys are paying how much for that junk hole? And yeah, there is sort of this sense that we should be able to have a little bit more if we kind of check the boxes and do the right thing. What do you think about that? Very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's important to set your expectations, and I think that, just from a personal experience, we grew up in a time where housing was cheap, and we had a suburban house with a big yard, and it was affordable for our parents. And
I wonder if they would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And then our parents bought in the 90s, where the rate was probably quite a bit higher.
Yeah,
but the price point was so much lower. Because, and again, it all comes back to that monthly payment.
Yeah. So I think it's just important to set your expectations and really educate yourself about the real estate market before jumping in, and realize what you're going to be able to afford.
I'll admit that I get super annoyed by comments like that, just the entitlement of, I have the money, I have a job, why can't I have this? I'm like, because that's just how much it costs. The market has set these prices. But when I step back, I realize that I actually probably feel the same way. It's human nature, right? Like you were just saying, I grew up in a relatively affluent home, went to the right private college, and got jobs, and we work.
And we now have a house that we really enjoy that's in the suburbs with a backyard.
Is it our dream house?
Probably
not.
Probably not, but it's a great house, and
But guess
we
what?
sacrificed a lot to be able to get it.
That was not our first house. Our first house was definitely not the house in the suburbs with the backyard. Yeah, it was something that we put a lot of sweat equity into.
We lived with people.
We had roommates. It was a fixer. And it wasn't in Seattle, by the way. It was closer to Everett, out of town. And did I feel like I should be able to have more? Maybe a little bit, yeah. That's how humans are. But anyways, I do think it is kind of interesting, these different conversations we've had even just today of how Seattle has such drug and prostitution problems, but at the same time, prices are so high and none of us can afford to live right in the city where we want to live, which is right next to where all that stuff is going on. It's just interesting. I mean, I think it just goes to show. I mean, Seattle's such a desirable place because of jobs, but also because of the natural beauty. I think the open, welcoming environment, unless you have any prior convictions of drug use, apparently. But it is just like it's a dichotomy.
Yeah, it is.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. Welcome back to my basement. I'm actually pretty happy with the functionality of this space. I put like mounting points in the ceiling for lights. The curtain back here really helps with sound. I use this light quite a bit for Zoom meetings, and my camera storage is just so great to have. But we have holes in the ceiling right here. There's probably 12 of these because we did a lot of electrical work to add mini splits in. And what else? I had a handyman put in these recessed lights. So, it just needs a lot of fine tuning. Oh yeah, and our little desk space over here is just like exposed studs. So what I really need to do is get this little corner over here looking a little cozy so that we can continue filming the sit-down podcast section of this show. As it starts raining, I am having a hard time finding a space to film that's out in the city, which I really love that, just being out. But I'm too awkward to ask a cafe owner to film in their coffee shop or anything like that. And we did go to the office this week, but we need to optimize our lives a little bit. No more driving around looking for filming venues. If we can just go down to the basement and record our show, it's going to make our lives a lot easier. Now, I like a good nursery, and Swanson's is having a sale right now, so I tricked my family into going by saying that I'd buy them lunch at the cafe, which I, of course, did. But also, the 2-year-old can never pass up the opportunity of looking at interesting-looking fish. Okay, we're loving Swanson's right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here before, but I guess never when the cafe was open or something. I knew it was here, but it's really amazing. I got a breakfast sandwich, and are these potatoes? Seasoned potatoes? They look really good.
And I got a chicken sandwich with french fries. It looks pretty good. I just got back from a walk where dog sitting Kendall's brother's dog, and it's stressing us out. I don't know how dog owners do it. But anyways, at the plant store, I got this nice fig tree. They're having a fall sale with 30% off of all trees and shrubs, and I still have lots of plants that I want to buy. Kendall had a good point about the food at Swanson's. They're trying. A lot of restaurants just don't try anymore, it seems like. But, there's a nice sauce on everything, and it's nice and crispy and cooked well. She didn't love the sauce. It was like an apple chutney. I actually really liked it. But, you should definitely check it out if you're a fan of plants and breakfast food, because It's nice there. Anyways, I have to go run a work errand now.
Please follow all instructions given by the crew.
I don't have a ton of time these days to be making videos for other people, but I do have a couple realtors that I still enjoy doing it for, and they give me a decent amount of side income, which is nice to have. So I'm heading over to Whidbey Island today to get a drone shot of some vacant land for a realtor friend of mine. I think it should be fairly easy, and the commute is just very nice. I'm a couple days into this little renovation set building project, and I'm at the point where it's starting to look much worse than how it did when I started. But accent walls are out. I decided this like late last night. I was up until 11 painting, and I'm just gonna make the whole room white and minimalist. Anyways, thanks for joining us today. I would love some comments on this new law that was passed in Seattle, and what you think about it, because I feel like I'm going crazy. Everyone's just like, yeah, way to go. And maybe it's better than doing nothing, but I do feel like it is incredibly insensitive, or lacks compassion, or I don't know. I feel like there's much better ways to go about this. And if you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send us a message and let's work together. Bye.